Hello boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Malaysian Grand Prix at the Sepang International Circuit just outside of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It is very hot out here at 31 degrees Celsius, and it's also quite dry at the track at the moment. The Jaguars have got off to a good start, the Arrows are just behind them. So, we're coming to the crunch time of the season. There is 6 races left to go. The BAR of Burti has retired from the past 2 races, but is still considered one of the title favourites because of the fact that he has such an advantage over what is now Frentzen in second place, who has just taken pole position at the moment. But Diniz is a 10th quicker in the Jaguar. It's going to be an interesting final couple of races. Will Burti come back and win the title, or will someone do the miraculous comeback and just win? I'm not too sure. Well, at the moment the track temperature's got up to 40 degrees Celsius. That's going to not help the tyres in these later runs. Rosa has just beaten his own original pole time. I said that in sync with the thing. So if the audio is out of sync, you'll now know why. Frenzon's done 7 laps, which is interesting. He has not improved his lap time. Well, he's not improved his position. Rosa has just improved his lap time again. Schumacher's just put himself into 5th, so it's currently Rosa, Diniz, Frentzen, Matsukane, Schumacher, Fisichella, Schumacher, Burti down in 8th. Webber, Lazy, Alonso, Hakkinen and Montoya. That is your top 13, and they're pretty much all going to stay. Kimi Raikkonen's popped himself up into 11th. He's only done 6 laps in putting himself in 11th. So Rosa on pole, Diniz, Frentzen, Matsukane, Schumacher, Fisichella, Schumacher, Burti, Webber, Lazy, Raikkonen, Alonso, Hakkinen, Montoya, Young, Coulthard, Takagi, Hill, Button, Barrichello is your 20. As we will go over onto the race now, as it is pouring with rain here at the Sepang International Circuit here in Malaysia. We have 22 laps for you lot to enjoy of a wet Malaysian Grand Prix. Still going to be very hot though, because we're in Malaysia. As we go onto the grid, the cars are prepared. 20 cars on the grid, ready for lights out, and away we go. It's a good start for both Jaguars, but French has got a slightly better start than Diniz. It goes over to the left. It looks like a fantastic start by one of the Renaults. Not sure which one that is. Schumacher is out of shape. He's going down the inside. It's Fisichella. He's gone down the inside of Matsukane. Frenzon's going down the inside of Fisichella again. Is he going to make that move stick for the Arrows? Yes, he will. He's up into 3rd place, cutting the Italian off. The 2 Jaguars are in the lead. Matsukane and Schumacher are side by side. Is it going to be the Argentine in front? It looks like it will be Burti, Lazy, Schumacher, Alonso, Montoya. Hill has had a fantastic start from near the back of the grid. Coulthard, Raikkonen's had a poor start and lost his front wing. Barrichello is bringing up the rear. Raikkonen loses his front wing. Where did he lose his front wing? So he did not get started. Oh, Webber didn't get started. It's an absolute massacre of cars. Takagi, Young's been spanned. What an absolute disaster. Young's just smashed himself into the wall. Is out of the race. Both Minardi is out of the race. Button struggling to even get past one. So both. Alright, so alright. Webber stalls and is out of the race. Hakkinen's out of the race. Both of the Minardis are out of the race. And Button just couldn't get going. So both Minardis out. Young, the Malaysian, out of the race. And Raikkonen already has to make a pit stop. It's an absolute disaster for Sauber. Absolute disaster for anyone outside the top 15. It's just an maybe it's the grid's just too packed in. Mazzacane tried going around the outside of Fisichella, but the Argentine was not quick enough for it. This is towards turn 6 and 7, a double right-handed. Fisichella goes slightly wide. A lot of cars usually go slightly wide around that corner. It paves the way for an inside overtake there. They're all diving right over to the left to see if they can get any sort of visibility in this spray. They're all a second ahead of Burti at the moment. Burti is visibly a lot slower than the rest of the guys in front. Lazy's in 8th in the Renault. 9th place is Schumacher in the Ferrari. But out in front are the two Jaguars, Frentzen, Fisichella, Mazzacane, and Ralf Schumacher. As it goes towards the final corner, both Jaguars still. Sauber ready in the pits, of course, for Raikkonen, who's trundling around without the front wing. As that is Coulthard that tries to make a dive bombing move. And now Coulthard's caught up in that as well. A lot of the guys on the left. Barrichello's already 6 seconds down. In fact, Barrichello's just losing heaps of time. He's so slow, Barrichello. As Hill is being overtaken. Button is in 15th. Raikkonen without front wing, 16th place, and going into the pits. This is the double right-hander of turns 8 and 9. The Jaguars have negotiated. Jaguars 1-2 at the moment. Frentzen third. The top 3 is what you think would be the top 3 in like season 2. It's been a good season for Arrows compared to the previous seasons. They didn't win in 3 or 4. They've already won 3 races this season and got a 1-2 finish. In fact, I think they've only won 2 races. Got double podiums in 2 races though. Only teams 2 managed to do that. But round the right hander, down towards the pit straight, we're on board with Giancarlo Fisichella in the Renault. Renault have had a torrid time of things. Their luck has been woeful. And round the final corner they go. They were second clear of Mazzacane in 5th. Mazzacane not showing his true potential at the moment, as they all dive to the left hand side of the track, ready for the tight right hander. The top 6 all separated by 3 seconds. A Lazy just overtakes Burti. By the looks of it, they're 8 seconds down in the lead after 2 laps already. That's 4 seconds a lap at the moment. Pablo Montoya 11th is 9 seconds behind. A lot of corners here is just not it looks like most of them are on a 1-stop. It's not proving much dividend for them at the moment. This is the quick S section of the track. A modern feature of Formula 1, the quick left or right hander. You see it like Silverstone, Spa. Are 2 of the examples where you see it. Sepang International Circuit sort of mimics that, but you see all the architecture around, all the roofing, keeping the crowd very dry in these horrible conditions. Now remember last time we had a wet race, it was Austria. We all remember what happened in Austria. This track is not as tight. It's one of the biggest tracks on the F1 calendar. In the widest part is 20 meters from edge to edge. And Montoya is pulled off out of the race in a Toyota. He becomes the 4th retirement of the race. 5th retirement. Morrigan's in 15th, and where's Barrichello? Oh, Barrichello is Trundlegrad in 13th place. Hill 12th. Coulthard 11th. Frentzen with the fastest lap as he tries to pursue the two Jaguars. Schumacher's in 9th. Looks like Burti's putting pressure on Alazi for 7th. Is Burti going to make that overtake? Yes, he will. The championship leader passes Jean Alazi in the VAR. Alazi in 8th for Renault. 7th in front is Luciano Burti, and has pulled away significantly already. Schumacher's in 6th at the moment. He's being dropped by Mazzacane. He's pretty much in the middle of nowhere now is Ralf Schumacher. Mazzacane in 5th in the BAR. 4th place in front is Fisichella. And you got the arrows of Frentzen, Diniz and De La Rosa all in front. The two Jaguars still 1 and 2 at the moment. Can't really see much if you're the second guy, but being the front guy is not the best place to be either, because it's just a wall of spray. You're not going to be able to see anything. Round the quick left or right chicane towards the long straight. There's 2 long straights separated by a hairpin at the bottom of the track. It's a perfect place to do an overtake if you are brave to do so. Towards the first 2 corners. Diniz with the fastest lap of the race. It's a 1:53.99, visibly slower. Round the quick right-hander off turn 3 towards turn 4. It's a like an uphill corner. You have to shut off a lot of speed before you get to it, and then a bit quick turns 5 and 6. Well, it's quick in the dry. In the wet, it's not very quick at all. It's actually quite horrible to try and negotiate. Frenzen's negotiated it well in physical as well. They put pressure on the German through the quick 2 corners of 7 and 8, down towards the hairpin at 9. Another short burst of throttle, nearly up to gear 7. Probably would have been gear 7 in the dry. Really tough corner this. Towards turn 10 and 11 they will go now. Alazi 7th, Burti 8th, Schumacher 9th. Burti and Alazi still trying to pass each other. Alazi's past Burti at another point of the track. Not sure where though. There's such a high curb. 10 and 11 turning and braking at the same time. Towards turn 13, Schumacher tried going around the outside. Turn 13 is a quick corner, then turns 14 and 15 is another typed 9 and 10 corner. That was Alonso wriggling there, braking and turning at the same time at turn 15. Then the long straight towards turn 16, the hairpin at the bottom of the course. The cars dip down and then dip back over the hill. Frentzen with the fastest lap again. Burti down the inside of Alazi. It looks like West where all the overtakers happening at the hairpin. So Frentzen and Diniz trading fastest laps. Alazi just overtaken by Burti. It already looks like he's trying to size up a move coming down the first corner. And is he going to make that move? He is already. He might have. Unless Burti can get back at him down the inside of turn 2. He doesn't, and Alazi is back up into 7th. He was only behind by a straight. Schumacher 9th, Alonso 10th in the Toyota. 11th place, David Coulthard is 26 seconds away from these lot already. That is such a huge gap. They're so slow back there. It's already after 6 laps. They're 4 seconds. They're nearly 5 seconds a lap slower than the top 10. It's absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. Round the quick right-handers they go down towards the hairpin. Jaguar ready in the pits. Not sure which one it's for because they're all quite close to each other. That is Alonso trying to go around the outside of Schumacher. Burti goes wide. Schumacher dives down the inside. Not really many overtaken spots. Much overtaken goes there. Who is going into the pits? It is Della Rosa, the race leader, into the pits. Burti will take Diniz will take over the race lead. Frenson's in second. They've pulled away slightly from Fisichella, who's a second behind. They're 5 seconds in front of Mazzacane. Diniz with the fastest lap. Looks like Toyota and Renault are also ready for 2 drivers. Mazzacane's gone past. Schumacher will go past now. So it looks like it might be a lazy going into the pits, or might be Fisichella going into the pits next lap. We're on lap 6 of 22. Away goes Della Rosa. Them not have already gone past. Alonso is in the pits. Alonso in the pits. He was the back driver of them 4. And there's a short burst of the accelerator down round turn 1. There's quite the gap of clear air there. Schumacher 6th, Schumacher 8th, Burti 7th, Alesi 6th in the Renault. Schumacher's in 5th, going round the left right hand corner of turns 5 and 6. Mazzacane in 4th in the BAR. Fisichella 3rd. Frenson still putting pressure on Diniz in front. Around the very awkward double corner of turns 10 and 11. Arrows are ready in the pits. So Frenson's going into the pits, and so is Fisichella. Diniz not going into the pits. Mazzacane going into the pits as well. So Jaguar not going into the pits means that Diniz is in one of the better strategies at the moment, it looks like. Frenson's already down the inside. That's going to get a bit spicy if Frenson's managed to get behind Diniz again. That is wise. Frenson apparently moved into the lead for like the most split second ever. Lap 7. Diniz leads. Mazzacane won't be in second. It'll be Ralf Schumacher in second. Now, if Renault are quick enough, they'll be able to get in front of the Arrows. But there were about a second gap. Mazzacane is also in the pits. The fuel hose goes off, and they are indeed in front of the Arrows. The Arrows getting slightly held up by Fisichella. Now, where is the Jaguar in all this? There is the Jaguar. And the Arrows is in front of the Jaguar. Della Rosa has dropped 2 places by virtue of pitting a lap earlier. The heavy fuel load is just not paying dividends for any of the drivers here. We're on board with the BAR of Burti. Schumacher, Alesi, all line astern at the moment. Schumacher second, 13 seconds behind Diniz at the moment in the Jaguar. Diniz leads for Jaguar. And one would think he'd go back into the lead after he makes his pit stop this lap. The Jaguar team already, and it's a good job because it looks like the Sauber of Raikkonen looking far enough. Yes, it is the blue Sauber with Kimi Raikkonen, the young Finn. He's had a decent season as Raikkonen. As a whole, Sauber's had a good season as well. Ferrari ready in the pits as well. Towards the pit lane goes Diniz to make his first of, you'd have thought, 2 pit stops. Pedro Diniz pits, which will promote Schumacher to the race lead. Away he goes into the lead. The driver with the most wins this season has taken the advantage. Burti being fueled rather heavily, it seems. 15.8 seconds is his pit stop time. And Fisichella has already gone past. Will Frentzen go past? He looks to the outside of the Jaguar. They touch! They are lucky to still be in the race of both drivers. Frentzen 6th. De La Rosa in 7th. Diniz comes back out in 5th. After putting what seems to be a whole tank of fuel in the car. Now how slow is Diniz going to be? Bearing in mind the rest of these are not one stopping, while looks like Burti is one stopping. Wound the right hander towards the double apexed right hander, effectively turning what will now be 180 degrees, going back on himself. Raro's ready in the pits. Ralf Schumacher then going into the pits. Frentzen looking down the inside of Diniz. Is he going to make the move? No, he isn't. Is he going to do the switchback? It looks like he's losing a lot of time on Diniz. He's done the switchback. Is he going to make that move stick? They are still side by side. Going into the quick left-hander. Frentzen is still behind Diniz at the moment. It's a great battle at the moment. De La Rosa is getting involved in this as well. Maybe Diniz is trying to help De La Rosa out here. Fisichella all this time is bullying away. Ralf Schumacher goes into the pits for the arrows, which will promote Jean Alesi into the pit lead. Burti's in 2nd. Fisichella 3rd. Change of all 4 tyres for the arrows. Fisichella is coming down the pit lane now. Frentzen is in front of Diniz. He's lost 3 seconds to Fisichella on that lap. De La Rosa is also in front of Diniz. Schumacher is coming out now. Mazzucane is only just in front. And Ralf Schumacher comes back out in 8th place. With again a full tank of fuel. So he looks like he's one stopping as well. But Diniz is in a stronger position for the 2 drivers. Round the right-hander towards the quick left-right chicane. Fisichella is in 3rd. Burti 2nd. Again battling with Jean Alesi. It's not going to really help their chances of winning though if they're going to keep on battling. The quick right-hander towards left right. Looks like Alesi is going into the pits. You'd assumed to be for a 1 stop. Down the pitch, the back straight. It's not pit straight, it's the back straight. Alesi, we're looking back on Alesi. Burti down the outside, inside of the car, but not going to really matter too much because Alesi has gone into the pits. Slow in the pit lane. The fuel hose has gone into the Renault. The Renault is being fueled up. He's definitely not going to be in front of Ralf Schumacher. Will he be in front of Michael Schumacher? Away goes Alesi. In fact, Schumacher is... or you can hear him. Yes, he's passed, but only just. And around the right-hander. Left-hander of turn 2. Turn 3 is a long right. Frentzen's in 4th, putting pressure on earlier race leader Pedro De La Rosa. In fact, De La Rosa has passed the arrows at some point. He was behind him. Fisichella in 2nd. got the advantage of Diniz. Managed to get in front of Diniz, and then Diniz holding a few of these guys up. And we see the small list of retirements so far in this race. 4 of them out in the first lap. Raikkonen also involved in that first corner incident. Button 13th in Jordan. Coulthard 11th. All these are just nowhere now. They're just struggling. 9th is Alonso. Looks like none of these are scoring points though. It looks like the top 8 is going to be your top 8 this race. Mazzacane 6th in BAR. 5th Diniz, 4th De La Rosa. De La Rosa's been overtaken by Frentzen again, but now he's just made the move on Frentzen. Going into turn 1, De La Rosa is turned around slightly. In fact, more than slightly, he's been turned around fully. And that's going to lose him heaps of time. Frentzen involved in another accident. And that's going to put end to the battle between the two drivers. And Frentzen, if this was an FIA sanctioned event, he'd be taking a march up to the stewards at the end of this race. But as such, it's not a sanctioned race, so it doesn't need to be worried. Burti's looking very strong at the moment. He's still yet to make a pit stop. Lap 12, he's got a 15-second advantage. That is turn 10 he's just gone around. No, 11, 12. 13. I don't know any of the corners anymore. Burti's going into the pits, and good timing too, because he's just caught the back of the world's most slowest roadblock ever of Rubens Barrichello. I don't even know who's in front of him now. That Coulthard? Maybe. He has dived into the pits for his one and only stop. Luciano Burti, 16 seconds is the advantage over Fisichella, but we've seen the amount of time lost to having heavy fuel loads. So will Fisichella manage to eke out an advantage enough to win this race? It's amazing how the car gets dropped down and the fuel hose doesn't move at all. Away goes the BAR. De La Rosa's just gone past. Will Mazzacane go past? He might just go past. There he goes. McLaren ready in the pits. That'll be for Coulthard. It's not the McLaren then. Oh, that's Diniz. This is a fight for the race, effective race lead, you'd have thought. And Burti is in front. Burti in front of Diniz. Ralf Schumacher and Malaysia are battling, it looks like. Especially looking at the lap times. 26 and 27. Jordan already in the pits. They're really out of this. They had one good race in Monaco and then it all went apart. Especially with the fact that Button went from 3rd to about 9th in a matter of a few corners. Now, last time a Jaguar and a BAR fought, they lost wheels. Will this happen again? Diniz has dive bombed down Burti's inside around turn 9. What a fantastic move. Slight contact between the two cars, but it's not going to really matter too much, as Burti loses a place to Diniz. Lazy's just overtaken Ralf Schumacher again. Diniz 5th, Mazzacane is in 4th. De La Rosa 3rd, Frentzen 2nd, Fisichella leads the Malaysian Grand Prix on lap 13. Toyota are ready for Fernando Alonso. Montoya already out of this race. Lap 14 they have just started. 153.9 for Frentzen. think Frenson might still have the fastest lap unless Diniz beat him. I think Diniz might beat. Oh no, Diniz did beat him because he beat him as De La Rosa was pitting. So Frenson doesn't have the race lead, fastest lap at the moment. That honour goes to Diniz, who is now battling with Luciano Burti for race position. These have only made their only pit stops this race. They don't have to make another pit stop. Towards the fast left right of turn 5 and 6. Diniz putting pressure on the old Jaguar driver. Not going to put too much pressure on for that. Crunch of the tyre going into the gravel trap. They're going fast right-handed. The hairpin. Now Diniz does another dive bomb. And he's made the move stick again. He loves that turn 9. Does Diniz. And Burti's just not defending his line. Round to turn 11. He's got to prepare himself. Turns 12, 13, 14 coming up quickly. He's got to prepare himself properly and he's not going to, unless he gets a very good exit off of this corner. It's a horrible corner this is to get right, especially in the wet, but he's managed to make that corner very well. They've got traction control in these cars, so it's a lot more easier. Ralf Schumacher's passed a lazy again somewhere on the circuit. Is Burti going to send one down? Yes, he will. Is he going to make that move stick? Yes, he will. So obviously it's the car that's going to be behind that will win this race. If it's still two cars side by side. Is he going to send one down the inside? Looks like Jordan's about to get involved. He does send one down the inside. And he's made that move stick again. So another change of position. They've changed three times in the space of half a lap. Lots of overtaking. Schumacher passes Alesi again. So Alesi and Schumacher are battling. We've got Diniz and Burti battling, but they have hit traffic in the form of a Jordan. Around the outside goes Pedro Diniz, and very, very impressive. And the Jordan lets him through. That was Damon Hill letting him through. Diniz, Mazzacane in fourth. We've been too busy looking at the battle that we don't know who's in front of these lots. De La Rosa is catching up to Ralf Schumacher, but that might be because of the Jordan. Arrow's already in the pits. The Jordan is... Oh! De La Rosa brave there. But Frenson's going to make a pit stop. Fisichella leads for Renault. 6 seconds is the race lead for the Renault of Fisichella. Fisichella, the one of two drivers to have won 2 races. The other driver is Ralf Schumacher. And down the pit straight, Frenson goes into the pits. That will promote De La Rosa into second. It will most likely promote. It will definitely promote Mazzacane into third. I don't know if it promotes anyone else up. It will definitely promote Diniz up. It will promote Burti up. Now, will he be in front of Alesi and Ralf Schumacher? Fairly easily, you would have thought. Ralf Schumacher's passed Alesi again. So Arrow's 6th and 7th now. They've made both of their pit stop. Alesi down the inside of the Arrows again. Them two tussling for what is 7th. And Alesi is now in that 7th place. Schumacher 8th. Frenson 6th. Diniz 5th. Jaguar 4th. Burti, they are battling still. Jaguar and BAR. No one to take, apart from the big start crash, no one has really too much of an advantage. Looks like the top three are all pitting at the same time. And Fisichella has just dispatched of call file. There's BAR's call to pit. Can De La Rosa get in front of Frenton? That is the main question. Mazzacane will definitely be behind the battle between Alesi and the arrows of Ralf Schumacher but Giancarlo Fisichella, race leader, into the pits. De La Rosa following him into the pits. And we'll move into the pit lead by virtue of the fact he's further in the pit lane. Fisichella is actually behind the battle between Dinners and Burti. So that's rather interesting. Here comes De La Rosa, and he is only just in front of Frenson. 4th place for De La Rosa, 5th place Frenson. They're going to be battling, no doubt. Schumacher is definitely in 6th, Alesi definitely in 7th, and Mazzacane is definitely in 8th, 5 seconds back from the lead slot. There's a 2-second gap, but we are back on board with Diniz. The back markers are behaving rather well, to say that they don't usually behave well at all. We're ready for the final 5 laps of this race. Burti, 2nd place. 3rd place Fisichella. So remember how I said the one stop was not working because it was a little bit too slow? Well, the both leaders are on one stops. Round the right-hander down towards the back straight. Here is where the best overtaking opportunities have come from. But then you need to make sure that you cover the line going into the first corner. He's down the inside, he's giving him space, and again we have a change of lead as Burti takes over the race lead. Diniz cannot try and make a move because that's a Sauber of Kimi Räikkönen coming out of the pits. He couldn't make the move. It looked like he was about to, and it was blocked completely. And now Fisichella is being held up by the Jordan. The Jordan needs to get out of the way. Towards 5th place currently is the Arrows. 6th place Alesi. 7th place Ralf Schumacher. 8th place Mazzacane. 2 of them are battling for 6th. Alonso 10th, he's nowhere near the points. He's 34 seconds behind. David Coulthard's 35 seconds behind Alonso. They're just nowhere since that big accident. Hill, Button. Okay, so yeah, remember how I said earlier that Hill was the person that they overtook? It more than likely was Button looking at the gaps. And Burti down the inside of Diniz. But he's going to have to try and make that. He's done the switch back. You can see Fisichella in the background looking for any advantage that these two are going to have. If anything, if these two crash or anything, Fisichella's looking to try and take advantage as Burti overtakes to take the lead of the Malaysian Grand Prix. Round turn 3, turn 4 coming up now. We've got 4 laps to go in this race. Lots of pressure happening now between the drivers. We're going around the quick right left-hander of turns 5 and 6. And then we've got the double right of turn 7 and 8 coming up for the 2 drivers. Not really much overtaking. This is Deniz's favourite spot to make an overtake. And he's made another dive bombing move. Is he going to make that move stick? Yes, he is. He's taking the lead once again. And round the right. Deniz has got a bit of advantage over Burti at the moment. However, will he make some sort of move? He likes his spot, does, but he's too far back at this lap. Is he going to try and make a move around turn 1? Another good overtaking spot. No, but they're going to get held up by the McLaren of Coulthard at this rate. Coulthard trying to get involved with the leaders battle. McLaren are the team with the longest drought. As Deniz goes down the inside and the McLaren makes that move stick. Burti around the outside. We've been viewing this battle for a good 2 laps now. Obviously not, but there we are. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman. De La Rosa 4th. He's got pressure from behind though from Heinz Frentzen, the 2nd placed driver. 3rd place, Lazy. Don't know why I said Lazy was in 3rd place. He's in 6th place. I think he's in 6th place in the championship as well. He's definitely behind the arrows. Speaking of championships, the constructors is going to be a little bit tighter. All the top 8 cars are the top 4 in the championship. That's how much of an advantage the top 4 have now over the rest of the field. One of these 8 cars you'd have thought will come away with the constructor's crown, barring some miracle upon miracles. That's like the biggest miracle possible. That much of a miracle, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Down towards the final corner goes Frentzen. Is he going to send one? De La Rosa, no he isn't. They're going towards the penultimate lap. There is Raikkonen in front of them. Lazy overtakes Ralf Schumacher going around the final corner. There's lots of action up and down the field. It's actually quite difficult to keep track. Ralf Schumacher, is he going to send one down the inside? No, he isn't. Frentzen 5th. He is close to De La Rosa. These two have been battling all race long. And Raikkonen is going to get in the way, is he, of this battle between him and De La Rosa. De La Rosa pulls away slightly. Fisichella 3rd. Burti behind Deniz still. But Burti is trying a Deniz tactic and has not made that move stick at all. Only Deniz can do the Deniz tactic of send one down the inside of 9. The quick left right. Deniz puts the wheel off the gravel. Down the back straight. Hairpin time now for the two cars on the penultimate lap. Burti sends one down the inside of Pedro Diniz. He's made that move stick. We're going to go towards the final lap. Burti is in the lead. I would love to know how many times Burti and Diniz have passed each other. If someone would be able to tell me, that would be brilliant. Because these have seemed to have overtaken each other constantly. There's been a lot of overtakes. Burti down the inside of... No, Diniz is down the inside of it. I'm getting confused between the two drivers now. That's how many times they've overtaken each other. Frentzen is up into 4th place. De La Rosa down the inside of Frentzen. Is he going to return the favour? Yes, he is. De La Rosa 4th. Frentzen 5th. He's still down the inside. The touch wheels again. Do the switch back on the McLaren. De La Rosa nearly clouds into the side of him, trying to pass the McLaren. Ralf Schumacher's in 6th. He's 5/10 ahead of a lazy. There's a bunch of battles still to be won. Diniz is in front of Burti now. And has got an 8/10 advantage. That is substantial. I don't think it's been that much for them two drivers. Round turn 9. There is 6 corners to go. 10 and 11. Here's where you sit. This is where you set yourself up all the way towards turn 15, the final corner. It is Diniz versus Burti towards the line. Rounds turns 13 and 14. Can Burti get a good exit off of this corner? Out down the back straight. He is closing. He's closing. But Diniz has to defend. Is Diniz going to defend his line? Going around the final corner. Burti down the inside. Is he going to make the move? Yes, he is! Luciano Burti is going to win the Malaysia Grand Prix by a 1/10 of a second. I don't think we've seen a finish as tight as that. Burti wins. Diniz second. Fisichella finishes in 3rd. 4th place goes to De La Rosa, just as tight between De La Rosa and Frentzen. Frentzen loses ground to Burti. Alesi and Schumacher 6th, 7th, and 8th place will go to Gaston Mazzacane. What an exciting end to that race. All the cars that were in front, all the cars that were behind on that lap managed to get in front. Arrow's losing 2 positions there in the space of 2 laps. So what an exciting race. I wouldn't have been able to keep track of the standings, so I've not got a standings thing for you. You'll have to find that out afterwards. But now as they go towards Parc Ferme, we're on board with your race winner, championship leader, Luciano Burti, who surely has one hand on that title now. It's a huge advantage for BAR as well. Towards the pit lanes they go. Your race winner for the Season 5 Malaysian Grand Prix is the white car of Luciano Burti. A 1/10 of a second separates the top 2 cars. You do not get much closer than that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that is the closest race ever in the 5 seasons that we've had. Fisichella finishes in 3rd. De La Rosa 4th. But the big story talking point was the start line accident between 4 drivers. 5 drivers, to be honest, were involved in that, and it was mainly because Webber stalled on the grid. as we go through the classified results. Arrows lose ground in the championship hunt. Renault gain, I think, on BAR. Jaguar definitely gain on BAR. Jaguar's bringing the top four all close to each other. As we look at the rest of the field now, Kimi Raikkonen nowhere after the first accident. Damon Hill in the Jordan. Jenson Button also in the Jordan, and Barrichello the final finisher. Thank you very much for watching the Malaysian Grand Prix. The next race will be Australia. I don't think we've been to Australia. I'm probably completely wrong. Who got the fastest lap? I've already checked off the screen. Whoops. Dennis got the fastest lap. Thank you very much for watching. And bye.